in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. No singing in the North Pole. Yes, there is. Okay, I'll stop my monologue. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. It's lovely to see you all. This man in the background has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. And right now, I just want to point out that somebody told me, very, very creative person, I walked by them, they said, now you're a superhero because of the hoodie. And I did what all superheroes do. I pretended to fly, right? I went like this. But then I crossed over the line that is students and went into the big room, and then my fun stopped. That's how quickly fun stops. There's a line of acceptable, and you cannot fly or pretend to fly in big church. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe people think you're a little crazy, but if you're over here, you're just having fun. All right. Anyways, welcome. We have a fantastic game for you to play today. Who likes games? Who likes games? Woo! Yeah! Everybody likes games, especially when there's a prize involved. Squidward! Okay, so raise your hand if you are in 7th grade. Raise your hand. And do you want to play a game? There's another stipulation, too. Right there. Hand high. Ready to go. Told me he was going to be vegan after church. Let's go. Okay, raise your hand if you're in 8th grade and you want to play a game. What? All right. Let's do this again. Raise your hand if you're in 9th grade and you want to play a game. All right. We'll take you too. Come on. What? Don't yell in the mic. I'm going to have a hard time with that, but I will. How about I'll go right here? And then I can yell as much as I want. We're going to play a game called 1 to 100. I would like 2 people over here. I would like 2 people to be right here. That means stop. Okay. So, there's going to be a category. There's going to be something that I care about, either little or a lot, from 1 to 100. I'm going to rate how much I care about this thing. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So I'm going to rate this thing from 1 to 100. And you're going to guess how much I care about this thing. Can you do that for me? Yes, I can do that. Okay, great. Let's begin. Yeah. And the person who gets the closest to my guess will be able to save manatees. Oh, that's the wrong side. You'll get a Fizz gift card for $10. So you'll get this really big drink with lots of sugar, and you'll be like, welcome, cavities. Okay. That's what you get if you win, right, Matt? Yes. Okay, so let's play. Please, you will have to take a guess how much I care about Mickey D's. How much do I care about Mickey D's? Let's start over here. 6. This is not a part of the game. We do not have to announce veganism. Yes, I'm a vegan. Okay.
I would probably say
20%. 75%. 1%. And we have a winner over here. It's Brooklyn. 1%. I don't care about Mickey D's. They don't have anything on the menu for me except French fries. The French fries are good. I will give you that. But I'm not going to eat French fries all day long. I need a burger. Impossible burger, I guess. But they don't have one yet. So Mickey D's can just burn for all I care. Okay. I'm just kidding. All right. Next. Animals participating in weddings. Do I think it's adorable or do I hate it entirely? He says I love it. How much do I love it? 60%. 90%. 89%. 100%. Ding, ding, ding. 100%. It's adorable and cute. And I'm sorry for screaming in the mic. But it's adorable and cute and wonderful. And I never had one in my wedding, and I'm slightly jealous of everybody that has an animal in their wedding, but let's on. Okay, next, please. Essential oils. How much do I care about essential oils? 30%. Okay. 60%. It is 20%. I'm okay about them. Hey, okay. It's okay. My wife loves them. She's all about them. Kind of like, yeah, all right, that's fine. We're good. Okay. Christmas music all year round. Christmas music. I did just sing, or I did a monologue from Elf earlier. So that, let's go. Judgments. Judge me hardcore, right? This is what it's about. Let's rain down the terror on me. Okay. 0%. We're at 1 to 100. 1. 50%. And 1%. I care 1%. Who raise your hand if you said 1%? 1. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. If you like it at Christmas time, it's Christmas music. You listen to it at Christmas time, and then you go all year, and then you listen to it again. Okay, I'll stop ranting. Okay. All right. What? Huh? Jingle bells, jingle bells. Let's stop this right now. Okay. All right, movie spoilers. Do I care about movie spoilers? Now, I know nothing about me. My name's Ethan. That's pretty much all you know, if you didn't know that. Again. And I'm a teacher. Yeah, so there you go. All right. 100%. Go ahead. 100. 1. 90. It's 100%. If somebody spoils my movie for me, like you're borderline not. Just kidding. But really, don't spoil my movie. I might what? Their kneecaps. That's actually a little bit less harsh than what I would do. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Let's go. Please, candy corn. That candy corn. Candy corn. Candy. Okay, let's start over here. 190. 1. The answer is 5. Like, there's so many other candies that are better. Yeah, see, there's so many candies that are better on Halloween than candy corn. That's why everybody passes them out and not candy corn. If somebody gave me candy corn on Halloween, I'd give me something else. Okay. Old Navy. Old Navy. How much do I love them low-cost jeans? Am I repping Old... I mean, if you consider blue, navy blue to be what we're talking about, but no, yes. 50%. 30%. I 30%. We got it. We're on the board. You see, the thing is, like, I don't really, I'm not a big dresser or shopper. I mean, I know you guys can tell that by how amazing I look right now. You're like, this guy, he knows his way around a department store shopping. Yeah, no, not. Okay, hot sauce. Do I love hot sauce? I see everybody staring at me, and I'm like the whole world is kind of closing in right now. I'm nervous. Okay, hot sauce. Go ahead. 75. 90. 50. Are you sure? Are you positive? Are you sure you're positive? Are you positively sure you're positive? Okay. 20%. All right. 75% was the answer. That was you, right? 75%. Yeah, I love hot sauce, but sometimes it's too spicy. Okay. 'Tis the point of hot sauce. Okay. Pineapple pizza. Pineapple pizza. Brooklyn. Not pineapple pizza. Pineapple on pizza. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. 100. 9. It's 50. Like, here's, yeah. me and pineapple are cool, but I can't have pineapple all the time, but I want it all the time. Yes, you don't really care. It's okay. Okay. We'll try man buns. Raise your hand in this room if you have a man bun. He's not raising his hand, but he's over there. Hi. Hi, Josh. Raise your hand. Hi, Josh. Jim now has a man bun. We have 2 man buns in the room. How much do I care about man buns? 50. 33.33%. I raised it up a notch from last time because one of my friends got a little bit mad. So I care about your man bun. I would wear a man bun if I could. I can't really. I mean, I don't know actually if I would. Talk to me in a month or 2. Okay. Who had it? Who's close? You had 1. Okay, we'll just 65, 33. I'll give you a point 2. I can't do math right now. Okay. Is mayonnaise an instrument? No, Patrick. Mayonnaise is not an instrument. Okay. How much do I care about mayonnaise? 1. Vegan. It's just in the background. That vegan. What's that? 1%. Yeah. See, it's 1%. Here's the thing. I grew up in a household where we weren't really allowed mayonnaise or butter or anything good that's really unhealthy. Yeah, and it's the thing. And so my wife likes mayonnaise and butter, so I'm kind of cool with it now, but not really. I'm, whatever. Okay. Your parents following you on Instagram, mom and dad, quit looking at me. Okay, go ahead. How much do I care about my parents following me on Instagram? 50%. 100%. 25 as well. It's 100%. I 100% care about them following me on Instagram because quit looking at me, mom and dad. Let me be my own man. I'm gonna fly. Yeah, okay. All right. All right, are we done? Okay, we're done. And that means I have to do something that I'm not good at. I have to count. Let me count here. And we have a winner. Who knows who it is? Who kept track? Nobody kept track? No. Brooklyn is the winner right now. Yes. You have won the opportunity to go to Fizz, get a soda, and save the manatees. I don't know how you save the manatees by getting a soda because, to be honest, you're putting plastic straws in the ocean and places that will kill the manatees. So think about the manatees. Use reusable straws. Okay. Either way, congratulations. It's a big deal. Woo! Thanks for playing, everybody. You did wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for judging me. Thanks for the judgment, guys. Yeah. Okay. We're going to work it.
Good morning. You guys are less awake than the first service. Let's try that again. Good morning. I was expecting a good morning back. Who's ready to worship? Yeah, that's right. Very cool. Cool. Are you ready? Okay. God, I'm on my knees again. God, I'm begging, please again. I need you. Oh, I need you. Oh, the darkness fades into new beginnings as we lift our eyes to a hope beyond. All creation waits with an expectation to declare the reign of the Lord our God. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. Now the silence breaks in the name of Jesus, as the heavens cry, let the earth respond. All creation shouts with a voice of triumph to declare the reign of the Lord our God. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one has overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. All the voices. He shall reign forever. Strongholds now surrender, for the Lord our God has overcome. Who can be against us? Jesus our defender. He is Lord and he has overcome. He shall reign forever. Strongholds now surrender, for the Lord our God has overcome. Who can be against us? Jesus our defender. He is Lord and he has overcome. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one has overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. We will not be moved when the earth gives way, for the risen one is overcome. And for every fear, there's an empty grave, for the risen one is overcome. Good job, everybody. You guys may be seated. We're going to do some announcements here. So, welcome if you're watching online or you're here in person. Welcome. If you are new and joining us for the first time, we are very happy that you are here. There will be a connection card on your seat or on the one next to you. If you want to go ahead and fill that out, if you are new here, that way we can get connected with you and kind of just learn a little bit about you. On that card as well, if you have any prayer requests, we would love to pray for anything and everything. And so if you've got one, go ahead and drop it on there. However, if you have a request that you would prefer stays with Matt, there's a little checkbox that you can mark that. And then we can be praying for you. And then back here in the back of the room on this board that, yes, Matt is modeling out for us, that is our bulletin board. That is a few other things or ways that you can either get connected or you can pin things up there if you want us to come, like if you guys are in games or you have plays or an art show, anything you want us to come to, we would love to be there and support you. And then also, if you feel moved, you can, for offering, we have our Compassion Children, Ian Saw and Wildy, and that way we can either put, food on their plate or help them with education. And then who here is ready for Hume? Everyone, yes. Hume is coming. It's going to be at it's like the very first week in August. We still have some room for you junior hires. So if you're going into 7th grade, or you're in 7th grade, we have a few rooms left, so go ahead and get signed up for that. So let's give a big round of applause for the one and only Matt.
Just leave it on from now on. She hates me. It's okay. She doesn't hate me. Just greatly dislikes. It's fine. My name is Matt, and I'm the youth pastor here, and I'm so glad you came to join us this morning. We are in the middle of a series called Habits, where we're looking at some things that you should make a habit if you want to get to know God better. And I heard this morning something that I think most of us can relate to. And raise your hand if you have a friend or a family member who's one of your favorite people on the planet, but for whatever reason, you rarely ever see them. Raise your hand. Yep. A lot of us. All right. Why are you pointing to her? She's right there next to you. Well, I'm talking about like less than even that, but we'll talk about it. I think most of us have somebody in our life, or a lot of times we have somebody in our life who we're really close to them, but for whatever reason, maybe they live far away, or they're, whatever the situation is, we rarely get to see them. For me, it's my former boss. I love this guy to death, but I hardly ever see him because he lives down in Salt Lake. And I know, Salt Lake isn't that far, but isn't it true that being far away in any relationship makes it more challenging? When you have distance between you and someone else, whether it's a long distance or even not that far, but there's still distance, it makes it more challenging. And like if you've ever had a long-distance dating relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? It makes it harder to maintain that relationship. And see, because my friend and I can't physically be in the same space, I guess not that we can't, it's that we aren't, we have to do things different to try and stay connected, right? Some things, all right, you guys have long-distance relationships. What are some things you do to try and stay connected to that person, even though you can't be with them? What do? Juliet? So you were going to call and FaceTime. What do you do? Text? What do you do? Long distance. How do you stay connected to them? Yeah. Scream really loud and they'll figure it out. Maybe won't be so effective. All right, some ideas and some of the things you guys said. Maybe you stay connected with each other's Instagram stories. I do this. We follow each other on Instagram and on Twitter. And so we can see what we're thinking and we can communicate that way. Maybe send each other DMs or comment back and forth on a pic. Text or call, old school, you can still do that. You get the idea, right? That even though we can't see each other in person, it doesn't mean that the relationship goes away. The relationship is still there. It doesn't mean that we have to be more intentional about taking time to connect, because it won't just happen by accident. We're not going to run into each other in the halls at school. All right, don't go to school anymore. That'd be weird if we ran it because we're two old men. But that's beside the point. We're not going to be standing in line behind each other at McDonald's. We have to make a habit of connecting so that the relationship doesn't suffer. If I want that relationship to remain strong, I have to be intentional about connecting with him through whatever means or form that we have that we can do it. Now, for the past few weeks, we've been talking about this same idea when it comes to, making a habit and how it makes it easier to connect with God. And as a result, it helps us to know him better, right? And one of the habits that we can practice to know God better is talking about him to others. Collective gasp in the room, right? This is me in high school. That was a terrifying thing for a pastor to say. Talk about him and what he means to our everyday lives. It makes it easier for us to connect with him. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, how in the world would I get to know God better just by talking about him to other people? It's a little too easy. And if that were the case, why wouldn't people do it? I think when it comes down to the idea of talking about God, our faith or our relationship with God, it makes all of us at least a little bit unnervous, right? Now, if you're honest, that thought might make you a little bit nervous. I remember when I was a teenager, I grew up in the church. I was in a Christian family, and I went to church every Sunday because Mom made me go, but that's fine. I was in the place I needed to be. And I knew a lot about God. I knew a lot about Jesus. I knew the stories. I'd heard them before. I could tell them back to you, but it hadn't gone down into my heart yet, right? And so because it wasn't in my heart, I wasn't passionate about it. The idea of talking about God to my friends was terrifying. That's one of those things that for me, it was, that's a hard no. And I think the reason why is because I was in love with my friendship more than I was in love with my friends. Let me explain like the difference, right? Because, you think about it, like if you become a follower of Jesus, if you call yourself his follower, like your eternity is secure, right? You know where you're going to go. Like that's done. Check that one off the box. Like why wouldn't you want that for your friends too? Like think about it for a second. Like why wouldn't you want your friends to have that box checked also? That when they died, like they're going to go live in eternity with Jesus, with God, in perfect relationship. Like why would you want them not to go there? And like, does that drive you not to say something? For me, like I knew that in my head. Like I'm going, I get that. I get it. Like practically, I understand it. But like you have to know my psyche, right? In junior high school, I was a scrawny little kid, and I was picked on a lot. I was picked on by my brother at home. And so like when I slid into high school, like the absolute last thing I wanted was like to stand out. Like I wanted to be low key under the radar. I just wanted to kind of do my thing and not make a big deal about it, because if the attention turned to me, like I have like these flashbacks of junior high again and being bullied and picked on. And so like that was the last thing I would have done. But then I started thinking about it, I go, man, I love my friendship. I like the idea of being friends more than I actually love that person, if I'm not willing to talk about it. And maybe like you feel that way too. Or maybe you have like some other questions that like pop into your head. Maybe you think like, what if I don't know what to say? Right? Like I've been a follower of Jesus. I believe. What if I don't know what to say? Like when we have a conversation with someone, especially someone who isn't familiar with what it means to follow God, and the subject of faith comes up, like it's hard to know what to say, isn't it? That can be difficult. And how, like he's even worse, how do you make it seem like it's just a natural part of the conversation, right? And not like totally weird. Like how do you bring God into a conversation and not it get like awkward and strange? Maybe that's not what you struggle. Maybe your question is, maybe you worry about, what if we sound stupid? Like what if someone asks us what we believe about like some controversial subject, right? And what if we fumble our way through our explanation of our viewpoint, which has happened to me like on more than one occasion, right? Bottom line, like nobody else, nobody wants to do, like you won't intentionally go into a conversation knowing, hey, by the end of this conversation, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. Maybe for you, the question is, what if we don't know enough about what we believe, right? For some of us, we realize that our beliefs are prone to change. And that's natural as you grow. Your belief system changes and grows with you. Like, how can we be secure enough to talk about it right now if we know they might change? See, for some of us, we may not even be sure what we believe. In fact, some of you in this room right now or online might be thinking, like, you think we should talk about faith? Like, I'm not even sure what I believe right now. Like, I haven't even made up my mind what I believe about Jesus and God and the Bible and all this. Like, I'm not even sure if I have any faith to even talk about. And if that's you, like, don't sweat it. Like, I get it. You're still in the place. I'm glad you're here. Keep coming. Like, ask questions and we can work through this. Maybe some of you are wondering, like, what if I offend someone? Like it's no secret, right, that faith can be a heated subject. Like any search on a controversial religious topic reveals how angry people can get. Like you see this on the socials all the time. Like someone will post something a little bit controversial, and then like it triggers all these people's responses. And let me ask, raise your hand if your opinion has ever changed by someone yelling in an Instagram post. No, nobody's opinion changes because of that. It just shows I hate. And like, what if someone disagrees with us? What if that is aimed at us? And what like the idea of us admitting that we're Jesus followers can cause fear and insecurity because we want to find ourselves in like these heated, angry moments. Like especially like cancel culture right now. You post the wrong thing, like canceled. I don't know. And like that's just the beginning. Right? Chances are you probably have questions like that I haven't even thought of. Like you're probably sitting there going, no, I got something like there's another reason why I wouldn't do it. And the thing is, like the ideas that we rehearse in our head have the power to create our reality. The things we rehearse in our head have the power to create our reality. Meaning we can spend so much time being afraid of offending someone that when the time comes, we still end up being offensive. Right? When it comes to talking about God, the last thing we want to do is prepare for failure. We prepare for success. So let's talk about it. If you've been around church a long time, or for any amount of time, you probably heard of this guy named Peter. Peter was one of Jesus' followers. He was one of his closest friends, and he wrote a couple of letters to some of the earliest Jesus followers in different parts of the Roman Empire. And see, while it's tempting for us to believe that talking about God is only tricky for us here in modern times, the truth is that these ancient Christians experienced it firsthand. I mean, after all, like take yourself back in time, like jump in the magic school bus and let's go back in time to ancient Israel and think about this for a second, right? Jesus changed the way everybody saw God. So this was all new information for all of them. There wasn't like a bunch of Christians back then. Like they were all becoming it. They were hearing this for the first time ever. Number two, they lived in the Roman Empire, think about it, which was the same empire that crucified Jesus in the first place, right? So they crucified Jesus. They ended up destroying the Jewish temple. Like saying the wrong thing around these people could have serious consequences. Now, we live in America where you have religious freedom. You can pretty much say anything you want, and maybe people get mad at you, but you're not going to die for it. So this idea of talking about God wasn't an easy idea for them to accept. And despite that, Peter addressed the topic, and here's what he said. I want you to get your phone out, open the YouVersion Bible app. We're going to go to 1 Peter 3:15. 1 Peter 3, I'm giving you permission to put your phone out in church. Go ahead, do it. Open up the Bible. If you don't have the Bible app, man, you got to get the Bible app. The YouVersion Bible app, it's on the Google Play Store. It's on the App Store. It's free. And I love the YouVersion app because it gives you any translation of the Bible you like, so you can kind of pick which one vibe with. And then it also has devotionals that you can use to kind of walk closer with God on a daily. And we have devotionals that are related to our Sunday messages. If you went on to the devotional search in the YouVersion app right now and look for habits, you would find a devotional that tracks along with the message you're hearing right now today. So here we are. 1 Peter 3:15. Here's what Peter says. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. Now, the words always be prepared are important. Because if you know Peter, like Peter tended to be the guy who flew by the seat of his pants, right? Acting impulsive sometimes. Like Jesus clapped back at him multiple times saying, no, Peter, you're getting it wrong. It's the guy who denied Jesus 3 times after saying, Jesus, I would die for you, right? This is Peter. He's impulsive. He shoots from the hip. Here, this guy who shoots from the hip is telling us, no, you need to be prepared. See, when it came to really big conversation about really big stuff, Peter had learned that it mattered to be prepared. So that's what he told the people he wrote to. Be prepared. Don't miss the opportunity. Fair enough. But how do we get ready? Same way we get ready for a big game or an elaborate TikTok overdub or a big speech, right? You practice. Anybody play sports? Who plays sports? What sport do you play? Gymnastics. You do gymnastic meets? And when you're competing in a meet, typically, and I know it varies depending on what discipline you're doing, how long does the actual competition that you're doing take? But just your part. Like, all right, you're going to do, what events do you do? All right, so combined, beam bars, something that I didn't hear the last 2. All 4. Your actual time spent competing on the bars, on the whatever, how long does it take? Less than an hour. How often do you practice? 3 times a week for how long each time? 3.5 hours, 3 times a week. About 9 hours. I'm good at maths. We're rounding. It's fine. It's fine. Teacher, sit down. It's fine. So for less than an hour of actual competition, you practice 9 hours a week. 10.5. I've been corrected. 10.5 hours a week. And how often do you compete? Once a quarter? Once every 4 months? 10.5 hours every week for an intermittent amount of competition. But why do you do it? Because you enjoy it and you want to be prepared. You want to do well when the competition comes. So you actively spend time preparing, working on your craft, working on your skill, so that when it comes time to compete, you're ready. This is what Peter's telling us. He says you have to prepare ahead. You have to practice. So that when that opportunity comes, you're ready with a response so that you can tell anybody who asks about the faith that you have. We have to get serious. Peter's challenging us to practice talking about God. He wants us to make a habit of it, just like she makes a habit of going to practice for 10.5 hours a week. Like let's say you have a friend, like a friend or a classmate or a teammate or like a bandmate who asks you the reason why you believe what you believe. Peter's basically saying, be ready for that moment. Be ready for it. Like anticipate it. Now, before you break into sweats, right? Like cold sweat. Oh, what? I'm going to have to talk. Let's clear some things up. When Peter says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone, he's not saying that you have to become a preacher. You don't have to go to Bible school. He's not saying you have to understand 100% of the Bible or even be able to explain difficult topics. See, none of those things is the point of what Peter's saying. Instead, he tells us what we should be prepared to give an answer about. He says, for the hope that you have. Be prepared to give an answer for the hope that you have. Peter is referring to what he did in situations where people questioned his reason for following Jesus. He shared his story. He shared his understanding of Jesus. Look, he didn't ask people to become experts or preachers or speakers. He told them what he's telling you and me. Just be you. Just be you. Share the hope that you have. Share your experience with God. Tell people what you've experienced. And hopefully, that helps you to relax. Because you don't have to prepare for anything. You're just going to tell who you are and what your story is. Because honestly, you and I have had a lot of practice talking to other people about our experiences. What? Yeah, you have. It's true. Look, you're one of those people like me. You'll tell anyone who will listen why McDonald's is better than Wendy's. And it is. Don't argue. It's true. I'm your pastor. McDonald's is better than Wendy's. It's a fact. Fine. We can agree to disagree. Maybe you're one of those people you'll share your love for Netflix series or video games or apps that you love. Maybe you'll give 5 reasons why dogs are better than cats to any random person on the street, which again is true. They are. Don't even argue. See, in other words, we already know how to talk about things that we love and experiences that we have. But see, here's something that there's just something about talking about God that makes it different, right? It feels like it's different. But let me ask you this. What if talking about God wasn't intended to be more awkward and more frightening than talking about anything else? What if it was never supposed to be that? What if it was supposed to be, you talking about yourself? What if that's what it was supposed to be? See, when you share about your experience with God, it gives other people hope. It lets them know that God is real to you, that he's working in the life of someone that they actually know, that he's not distant, and that he doesn't just show up in the life of Christian people who seem to have it all together. See, it lets others know that God is for you and for them. For you and for them. So whether you find yourself unsure what to say or if you feel like you know exactly what to say about God, remember this. Talking about God helps us to know him better. Talking about God helps us to know him better. And that something is what you've already experienced. Something you've already felt. It's something you've already enjoyed or benefited from in your own personal faith. Right? You share your reason for the hope that you have. You never know how that would impact people around you who are dealing with their own difficulties in life. And Peter concludes his thought saying this. He says, but do this with gentleness and respect. And look, this isn't just an afterthought, right? It's important because when you think conversations usually go about religion and faith, gentleness and respect aren't words that typically tend to describe them, are they? Too often it can feel like the exact opposite. So how do you talk about your faith with gentleness and respect? Well, you don't talk about it just to start an argument. That's not gentleness and respect. You don't talk about it to shame or judge someone. You don't talk about it because you're convinced that you're right and everyone who believes different is stupid. That's not gentleness or respect. So you just share your story in a gentle and respectful way. See, when you share what's real for you, it makes you more real to others. It makes the conversation more authentic. People can, believe me, people can see through her church speak, right? You come out and start talking a bunch of churchy words, they're going to see right through you. They can tell if you're just saying something that your youth pastor told you to say or rattling off a list in an attempt to force someone to believe something. But when you share out of your heart and your own experience, you come across as a real person who's had a real encounter with Jesus, a real living God, right? And this is about thinking about things that you love, right? What are some things you love to talk about? Chances are that you talk about those things because you're passionate about them. But also, right, in the process of talking about them, you become even more passionate about them, whether it's fashion, your favorite music artist, football team, video games, fishing, or the person you're dating. You talk about what you care about, right? My oldest son, he loves to talk. He's one of these people that when he was little, it's like, man, do you ever stop talking? He loves to talk. He'll talk. He'll talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And he went through this phase, we're sitting down eating and talking to him, and he brings up roller coasters. I go, okay, I can vibe with that. I like roller coasters. And he starts talking about roller coasters. Now, what I didn't know is he'd gone down the YouTube rabbit hole on roller coasters and learned all these crazy things about them, who the architects are and what the G-force and how they engineer them. Blah, blah, blah. And he's talking, an hour later, we're going, man, how did we get so deep on roller coasters? But he's talking about it because he became passionate about it. And the more he talked about it, the more he learned about it. The more he learned about it, the more he wanted to talk about it. And so I was stuck on the other side of it, talking about roller coasters. See, when you're passionate about things, you talk about them. But also in the process of talking about them, you become more passionate about them. Right? We do this. All of us do this. And it's not, that you're trying to push your opinion on someone. It's you talk about what you care about. And you're not trying to do it. It's a natural habit that you form. And in the process of talking about it, you care about it more. And you don't have to know everything about it to talk about it or to care about it. Just start talking, right? And the same is true in your relationship with God. The same is true, right? As you talk more about Him, you'll discover that you get to know Him better. Talking about Him. And that's what I want to do when it comes to your faith. Just start talking about it. But what does it look like practically? How do you do that? Here's a few steps. First, talk about it with your small group. And I know we're not meeting in small groups right now, but we're going to kick those off again in the fall. But I know a lot of you are already connected to your small groups. You're in group chats or, DM group stuff, whatever you call it. I don't know. You're in connection already, right? So you can start talking about it now, right? Your small group is a great group to talk about your faith with. And as you share, you may never know if someone else will be able to relate to what you say. And we're going to see a story on a video in a minute of one of your friends here who shared his story. They're playing in a big church this morning too, so it's pretty cool. And I remember when I was talking to him before he did it, he said, man, I don't really have a big story. I've just been around. But your story will resonate with someone because there's other people out there having the same experience you are. And sometimes we think that we're all alone on this island and that nobody knows what we're going through and that we're all alone in this thing. And then you hear someone else's story and go, man, I'm just like that. Yeah, I'm just like you. They'll relate to what you're sharing. And in that way, your sharing will help other people grow. And your faith will grow as you vocalize what you believe. And don't forget that having questions and doubts about faith are part of the experience as well. It's okay to have questions and doubts. I'm talking about in church, right? There are times when I have questions and doubts, and it's in those moments that I lean more into my faith to learn more about God, to answer the questions and doubts that I have. Like, God's not afraid of your doubt. God's not afraid of your question. You don't only need to talk about your faith in like an everything is perfect kind of way, right? Sometimes it's good for other people to hear that things aren't perfect for you. And this gives them like permission to share their own feelings and struggles too. And as you search for answers together, I believe that you'll learn about God in a whole new way. Just know this, you don't have to have it all figured out to talk about it. You don't have to wait till like you've achieved some level of whatever before you talk about your faith. Like, you can talk about it right now. Second, think about your story. Like, you have to think about your story. A lot of you guys go, I don't have a story. I just been in church. But that's a story. There's power in your story. Like, God's taking you on this journey, and it's impactful. Whether you believe it or not, think about it. Spend some time thinking, what do I believe? And why do I believe it? Or why don't you believe? Like, that's even as valid a question, right? Think about your personal experience on this journey of faith that you're going on. Like, write it, type it, say it out loud, whatever you need to do. But keep this in mind. Your story doesn't just have to be things that affected you, right? It can also be things that have affected people around you, right? Like if your mom is a single mom and says, the only way I survived this is God, then that becomes part of your story too, because she's your mom. And the people around you, are a key part of your story. So feel free to write down ways that God has impacted their lives as well. And then third, I want you to fill in the blanks, right? And if you get stuck and you don't know how to proceed with what my story is, man, fill in the blanks in this place. It's a simple formula. You can use this or don't. It's 3 statements. The first statement is, I was blank. Where was I before this relationship with God? But God, blank, and now blank. Like, think about what was happening in your life before you invited God to be a part of your daily choices. Like, it could sound something like, I was tempted to lie about my actions, or I was insecure about my appearance. Then think about what God did for you and fill in the but God. It could sound like, but God made promises that allowed my true self to be who he designed me to be. And then fill in the and now with something like, and now I live with more confidence. So you don't have to share your experience like everything worked out perfectly. You just share your story with all of its twists and turns, without the pressure of it all making it all sound happy. So as you make it a habit to talk about the reason why you believe what you believe, imagine if you also stretched your faith and because it could help the faith of the people around you, right? You share your faith not only stretches yours, but it could impact the people around you, whether you're talking to people who believe what you believe or disagree. Talking about God will help you to get to know him better. So as you share, as you hear others share, and as you make a habit of doing both, you're going to find yourself knowing God better. Remember, you don't have to know everything to share something. Would you pray with me? Father God, thank you so much for this time. God, we thank you for your word, for the examples that we find in there. And Lord, I pray that you would touch the heart of every student watching in person or online this morning, God, that they would feel compelled to know their story, to practice it and prepare it, God, so that when the opportunity arises, that they would be able to share who you are to them and how you've changed their life. Father, we thank you so much for this time in this place. We love you and pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me here, Lord, as you draw me near. I'm desperate for you. Desperate for you, I surrender. Drench my soul, mercy and grace unfold. I hunger and thirst. I hunger and thirst. With arms stretched wide, I know you hear my cry. Speak to me now. Speak to me now. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. I surrender. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. Like a rushing wind, Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a rushing wind, Jesus, breathe within. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. Like a mighty storm, stir within my soul. Lord, have your way. Lord, have your way in me. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more. I surrender. I want to know you more. I want to know you more.
See, the words of that song should like hit you so hard, right? Because that's what it's all about. Like, it's just telling God, God, I'm going to, like, I surrender it all to you. Like, all my fear, like, all my shame, all my doubt, my happiness, my joy. God, I give it all over to you. And I trust that you are who you said you are. And in response to that, God, I want to tell other people about you. I want to tell them my story. And trust that you're going to use me in a unique way to affect the lives of the people that are around me, that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to have this religious story that's going to make people cry. God, that my story is enough. And God, I surrender my story to you this morning. And if you've been a follower of Jesus for a while, man, this is the most important thing we can do, is to tell other people about who God is, to share our story with them so that maybe for the first time ever, they would hear the message of grace and salvation that God has given to every person, that it would change their eternity forever. Because that's what it's about. And I want to love my friends more than I love my friendship. I want to love the people around me more than I love hanging with them, because I want to see them one day in eternity. That's what's most important thing. And maybe you're here this morning and you've been following Jesus for a long time and you go, yeah, I'm ready to share my story. Maybe you're in this room and like God's hitting you for the first time ever saying, man, I need to put my faith and trust into him. Like I need to be a part of the story. Like I've been trying on my own and I can't be good enough. Maybe God's telling you, just turn it over to him this morning, just to surrender that to him. We're going to pray, and then we're going to show a quick video just to give you an example of someone in our group, in our family here at Students at Heights, sharing their story, and maybe let that move you. And if you're interested in getting on the yellow couch, let me know. Come see me after church. God, thank you so much for your son, Jesus Christ, and the gift of salvation and grace that he's given and provided for anyone who would believe in him. Lord, we trust that you are who you say you are. And God, we just want to make much of you. We want to give you all the glory and praise. That it's not for our sake and for ourselves that we tell our story, God, but it's that it would draw people to you. And they'd be able to experience what we've experienced and have the promise that you've given to us, that we would be the very sons and daughters of God. God, we love you. And we thank you for this time in this place. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Watch this.
I grew up in a Christian home and accepted Christ in life at a very young age. I kind of accepted him mostly because my parents believed in him, and because they believed, I figured in my childish mind that believing in him would be something I should do too. And I never experienced that deep personal connection to God that I hear so many other Christians talk about. And more recently, that's left me feeling very, empty, lost. And, middle school, high school, there's those stigmas of, you gotta be popular, dress nice, and have good grades. And just feels like you gotta live up to other people's expectations, and, it's like really hard to follow. It hit a breaking point when COVID hit. COVID just kind of wrecked everything for me. I feel like social life just drained me because there wasn't any of it. I'm a very social person. I like talking to people, and without connections to people because I'm stuck at home, I felt lost from everyone, and I needed something to escape to help me feel comfort. And I wasn't gonna go to drugs or anything like that because I'm that goody two-shoes Christian kid and my mom would kill me. But I just decided to pray. And ever since I prayed that one time, praying has been my connection, and it's, brought me comfort. I mean, praying to God, it's not going to change the circumstances or scenarios of anything I'm going through, but he just brings you comfort and lets you know that you're not alone when you go through difficult times, and that comfort is invaluable.
Happy to walk you through that. That's all we've got this morning. I'm so glad you came. You guys have a safe week. Make good choices. You are out of here.